and welcome to another episode of Home Friends. My name is Rome, and today with me we have a very special guest. Now, a lot of the time in all of these episodes, we are speaking to some of the healthcare professionals. But today, we have an education professional with us, and we'd like to welcome to Home Front. We have our school principal, our primary school principal. Let me make sure I get your name, because I know I was getting nervous around principals.
Why?
I was because anytime I get called into the principal office, I knew it was something I did wrong.
Okay,
so I don't want to call you Miss. But we have Miss Clarke here with us. And I want to dive in one time. In terms of online school, during this pandemic, this has been a crazy time for all of the kids. And I know that most schools would have started last year around May.
I will say definitely around May for most. Some schools jumped right in March 16th. So we went home March 13th. Many schools tried to jump on the following week with enthusiasm because this was all new and exciting. However, I will say we counted in months, so it's about 13 months all around that we have been online. And what is online for us is now a different face, because when you went on last year, it was new and exciting, and as I said, adventure. Right now, it is difficult. Online teaching, online learning is like a paradox. It's great for many, but it's not doing well for quite a bit.
That jumps into the point I was not going to bring up, that I was reading an article online on the Wall Street Journal. I was saying that the online schooling was not working. Generally, when they looked at it, they said it wasn't working. So I know that was internationally, probably based on the US, because it's the Wall Street Journal.
Right.
But here in Trinidad and Tobago, you as a principal, you're in it yourself. What have you seen?
13 months later, I will say it's working for many. Okay, so let's start there. But then you have public schools, you have private schools, you have those children who will always be called overachievers, and they will always thrive in whatever the environment. However, you have those without devices still. You have children without even a phone still. How are they going to connect in the classroom in their domestic home? How do they do that? Right. There is absolutely no comparison to being in the classroom. So I can understand why the Wall Street Journal said it's not working. There are poorer areas, and I don't really like to use the word poorer areas, but there are those unfortunate children whose homes, let's be real, it's hard. It's hard to have a device for every member of the family. So you're talking about homes where even two children exist with, let's say, a single parent. How does that single parent go out to work and leave for two children?
Right.
Points one. Two will be, how do you actually treat with the devices? You're talking about 3 devices if mommy is allowed to work from home. And that alone interferes with connectivity. So you have all these glitches. And even if I go into a class or a space to visit, they will say, Miss, you're glitching, because they can't hear me. It's now like, wave me good morning. They can't even speak to me. So there are so many drawbacks to online. But as I said, it's paradoxical, because I don't want to say it's all bad. I think they can exist side by side.
Right. Because I was also hearing of some other challenges that the online schools, the online classes were facing. Aside from the fact that there's a connectivity issue, there's a disparity somewhat with those who have devices and those who don't. There's also a lot of issues, even when they have the devices, where some teachers have been hearing saying some of the children are coming to class, and then some of them don't want to put on their cameras. We don't know what is happening. I saw some videos on social media where some of the kids are even rude to the teachers. Is it a case where there is less control of the class by the teacher because it's a virtual environment?
Of course, Rome. That is a definite. Now, whereas the teacher in the classroom physically can sort of stand there and in full body, be it male or female, that child is seeing the full height of the person, they are seeing the person's stature, they will respect that individual. In the home, you are hearing many distractions. You are like, I think I can now fake this and say I'm glitching.
Right.
They are now learning how to manipulate the system even better, so they can be like, excuse me, can't hear you, and then next thing you know, they fade away. But they have actually turned off. Now,
They are real tricks.
well, remember, this is their world. We are done with the industrial age. This is the technological age. These children are in control. But beyond that, while I say that, Rome, there are so many children who are earnestly wanting to continue school as normal, you know. But there are the issues where they are tricking us, no two ways about it. And there are the issues where we are yearning to get back some bit of a hybrid system, if need be, that we can coexist with in school, at home, because there are many benefits to being at home, up close and personal. Yeah.
Right. So what advice would you have? For one, let's deal with the teachers, that the teachers have to deal in this online world. What advice would you have for them moving forward in terms of dealing with the classroom?
I will say, pick your battles. Honestly, there are times when you just have to let things go, because you just need to motivate the others. So sometimes we harp on probably 3 children when in fact you have a great percentage willing to work with you. I will say to them, let's utilize online, because online you can strategize your classes in a holistic way that is dynamic. So people are doing, lots of teachers are doing workshops to enable them to learn the strategies of how I can do instructional teaching that will enable my child to stay focused, keep motivated, etc.
Is it more work in terms of the hours?
We are not even getting home and we home. It's like you're just going around. It's like multitasking on steroids.
I hear teachers saying that. They're
No,
saying
it's
that
worse.
they prefer the physical classroom because to
You get
them
to go home.
it wasn't all of this. To them it's like more work
Yeah,
now
it
than
is.
it was back
It is
then.
a whole lot more work, because again, the minute you finish your class, now you have homework to correct, because you're still trying to keep a simulated classroom and homework. And when that's done, you're preparing for the next day. And as I say, there are many ambitious teachers out there who are in fact doing great preparation for the next day. And then this thing just keeps going, because now you meet with parents, and parents, you can now meet with them at 7 p.m. And you can have a little meeting with them, tell them how little Annie is doing, how much you can help Annie. So there are the benefits.
Right.
But it is tons more work.
Okay, so I would say hats off and full respect to all of the teachers that are going through this right now.
Agreed.
And they pull in their weight, and they get in. Some of them weren't accustomed to all of this technology. They didn't know how to use Zoom before, and now they're learning to do it. So, and I want to touch on in something that we mentioned earlier today too, in terms of the disparity. Have you all seen a disparity in terms of the gender of the students in their capabilities of learning, in terms of the financial situations at home, and in terms of a rural or an urban lifestyle, in terms of the ability of the child to receive the online learning?
Okay, so gender issues will always be there, even in the face-to-face physical brick and mortar. All right, we have, as it were, we have fewer male teachers even, because again, we are just, schools are ruled by a lot of women, let's face it.
Okay.
And that's a fact. The boys are performing as best as possible, but they too only know technology to play games.
Right.
So now you're telling me I have to sit down and stay focused with you and not do Minecraft or whatever other games that they play, Roadblocks, a myriad of games. So you see there where some boys might be better able to trick you, because they're getting into Discord, they're getting into different little websites while they are facing you, mind you. So you might
So
see
they have
them,
a screen here, and then they have another screen.
you
up
might
with
see them
something
kind of giving an extra laughter, and you did not give a joke. And then you go, come back to me, come back to me. You know, I go into classrooms and I hear teachers saying, Rome, turn that off and come back to me. And I go, wow. But the boys are enthusiastic. Now, about the disparity in the homes financially, that exists. And there are some boys, unfortunately, who will fall by the wayside. Nobody is really doing the stats to know what's going to happen in 4 years' time when the preschoolers who never hit a classroom physically, what they will be like in standard 3 or 4.
Yeah,
Nobody
we
has
didn't
really
think of that.
projected that.
For real.
You know, sometimes I am leaving my home for an appointment and I see children on the streets and I wonder, shouldn't they be in the classroom online? So you ask yourself, who is really monitoring these children? Some parents are fortunate to work from home, others aren't. But all in all, girls and boys, girls will also fall on the wayside because some girls are very bored with this. Girls love interaction. Well, most people respond better socially.
Yeah.
And girls are social creatures, and this grid is not really helping them.
And what about the rural versus the urban?
Oh boy. We will need like a full day to discuss that.
Because I know with that too, one, it would be connectivity issues because a lot of rural areas don't have internet access.
Big time.
And
yes.
they want to learn. I know that they have these educational packages that some teachers would prepare, but it's like if you're kind of teaching yourself with
it's
the
not
package.
the same, correct. A package to receive. I mean, I can probably swallow that package in 3 hours.
Right.
Then what do I do for the next 2 days? Maybe Miss gave me that for the week. So you have this disconnect as well with real teaching and educating. Education is really a social activity. Huh? So giving a package is not helpful. Areas, even in the urban areas, sometimes the connectivity is low. And you will have children falling off. Some children go out and come back in and then they open their mics and you can't even hear them. And you were hearing them 10 minutes, but they are younger ones and they are not up to the pranks. So you will hear the teacher say, go out and come in again. And the child goes out, comes right back in, and you hear the child. So you have connectivity issues. You have that Wi-Fi that will drop all the time. Not everybody can hardwire, like, you know, to have it hardwired, then you stand a better chance of being constant.
And finally, as we discuss all of this in terms of online learning, moving forward out of this pandemic, do you think this period where the children were away from school is going to hamper the education system in Trinidad and Tobago? I know it's a tough question, you're not the Minister of Education, but I'm tossing it at you. Do you think it's going to have long-lasting effects on these children moving forward?
I will say we are not psychologists, you're right, and we are not the Minister of Education. But because I've been in education for quite some years, I am seeing the effects already. And you're sort of looking at that projection and you're saying, what's going to happen in 5 years' time? Right. It is affecting the children. It is affecting them academically, socially. You know, their behavioral patterns are wonky. As you say, how do we keep those children on task without being next to them or standing beside them? How are we doing that? So we'll have to mend a lot in order to move forward when we do get back into brick and mortar. But there will be effects.
So you're hearing it straight from the horse's mouth, someone who is in the system, a school principal at the primary school level. Right now we're going to jump inside our mindfulness moment where we take you to that space of serenity where you breathe in, breathe out, and relax.
Welcome to this mindfulness moment. I invite you to bring a little mindfulness into things that you do every single day. So I'm holding a glass of water, and if you have one nearby, maybe you can hold it as well and join me in this exercise. So just taking a moment to notice what it feels like to hold the glass. We often just pick it up and drink so quickly, we don't pay attention to the weight of the glass in your hand. Taking a moment, you might notice how the light reflects in the glass, or even just see the reflection of your fingers through the water and what that looks like. Then you could smell the water. Maybe it has a flavoring, maybe you're drinking juice, it has a different scent, or maybe you don't notice anything at all, and that's okay. And then I invite you to take a sip. And just notice what that sensation feels like of the water coming into your mouth and going down into your throat, quenching your body. Notice if you take a big gulp or if you take little sips. And it's a simple exercise like this, where we slow down doing ordinary things that remind us to be here now.
And we're back, bringing you back in from that peaceful mindfulness moment. So we want to thank you very much, Ms. Clarke.
My pleasure.
For being here with us on Home Front and giving us that insight in terms of the educational side of things. I know that everyone is facing that homeschooling issue at home, those with kids, and it's tough for everyone. And you shed some light. You open the eyes of a lot of parents who go to work and have the kids at home and they don't even know what is actually taking place. So thank you very much for that.
We are in this together.
And I have to bring you back again because we have more to discuss when is education in school.
Okay.
Right.
Once it's education, I'm here.
Okay, guys, so we want to remind you to keep on sending in those questions via your videos to the email address and to the Instagram account. And keep on sending because we love to answer your questions. Remember what we always push on Homefront is knowledge is power. So let's jump right into our question and answer segment.
Hello Homefront, I'm Jacqueline from Sangre Grande. Is it possible for elders to die of loneliness?
This is Dr. Sani. While loneliness does cause a deterioration in health in older people, it would be most unusual for them to die directly of loneliness. Loneliness causes depression and also can make it more difficult for them to look after their other health issues. But as I said, to die directly from loneliness would be unusual.
So keep those questions coming and we're going to get the professionals to give you the answers each and every day right here on Homefront. So we want to thank you very much for tuning in right here on TV6. Thank you very much to Dwellings for giving us this beautiful set. And thank you very much to the PED CARES Foundation, as they are the ones that train the doctors, the nurses, there's the pediatrics, the pediatricians, the paramedics, all of them get trained with the PED CARES Foundation. Remember, they also partner with schools, organizations, both locally and internationally, as they support the children. So we ask you to keep supporting them by sending your donations. My name is Rome. This has been Homefront. Thank you very much for joining us. See you guys tomorrow. Same time, same place.